Now let's move on to the actual program. This is on page 9 of your manual. There are a lot of detox programs out there. I myself have been on a lot of different types of diets. I've basically taken a combination of the best of all of these, and that's what I'm giving you now. What to avoid? That's in the middle column here on this page. You're going to want to avoid all grains. No rice, no quinoa, no pasta, no wheat, no bread. No sugar. Not even honey, not even maple syrup, not even sugar alcohol. This is going to require you to be diligent and read labels because manufacturers sneak it in wherever they can because the sugar makes you want to eat more of the product. And just because it says organic doesn't mean you can have it. Organic brown rice syrup? No. Organic evaporated cane juice? It's a sugar. No. Some things you will have to look at are nut butters. Take a close look at those. I've seen some almond butter that has evaporated cane juice in it. So, look for just raw almonds or roasted almonds in your almond butter. Ketchups, condiments, they often have sugar in them. An exception is probably mustard. It's probably one of the only condiments that doesn't commonly have sugar in it, unless you're talking about one of the flavored mustards like a honey Dijon. So, look for sugars in your condiments. No alcohol, not even for cooking. Caffeine, you'll want to avoid it at all costs. I promise you, you will feel better off the coffee than you do on the coffee. At first, not so much, I understand. Believe me, I've been there. So, if today is Tuesday, I would recommend starting to wean yourself off of caffeine right now so that Monday is not awful for you. If you're a cup a day type of person, I would go every other day until our start day without coffee. And then, once our start day starts, then no coffee. No legumes. So, beans of all kinds. Peanuts are actually not a nut. They are a legume. So, we want to avoid peanuts as well. The reason why we want to avoid beans is because they can be really hard to digest for a lot of people, unless you soak them for a super long time and cook them really well. But just stay on the safe side and pull those out of your diet. No soy products, so no soy sauce. Soy is commonly used as a thickener and additive in a lot of things, so you really want to pay attention to the labels for that one too. Dairy, including cow, goat, or sheep's milk, so not even goat cheese. No food additives. Carrageenan is another thickener that is added. So, if you're looking at your almond milk or your coconut milk, a lot of times it's in there, so pay attention to that. No MSG and no sulfates. Those are also some food additives that you want to pay attention to. Protein powders. That's on the bottom of the list here. This can be somewhat negotiable. Whey is a dairy derivative, and a lot of times there are people who can handle whey but can't handle dairy. Now, that's not always the case, but sometimes it is. A lot of times there's sweeteners in the powders too, so you have to look out for that. If you have to use a protein powder in order to get enough protein during your detox, look for an organic plant-based protein powder, a vegan protein powder. Ideally, Whole Foods is going to be better than a protein powder, but it's up to you. So what can you eat? Notice the first thing is vegetables. All right, so here's the thing. Over time, as you change your eating, you will start to really appreciate the taste of vegetables. I'm telling you, your taste buds will change. You may want to try cooking it a different way. Try putting coconut oil with it. There's just several different ways to sneak in your vegetables. Once you get off all the sugar, the vegetables, especially the root vegetables, the squashes, they taste like candy. Now, there are no white potatoes, but sweet potatoes you can have. However, it is important to note that if you have a lot of body fat to lose, or losing body fat is one of the main things that you are trying to get out of this detox, I would limit the amount of sweet potatoes because they're going to be higher in starches than a lot of the other vegetables. Squash is a great alternative. Butternut squash tastes pretty much like sweet potato, at least to me it does. So, eat lots and lots of vegetables. I listed 6 to 8 servings per day. You want to try to eat vegetables with every single meal, even breakfast. Fruit, I listed here. Try to eat what's in season and what you can get that is good quality. Fruit can be kind of a tricky one in this detox as well. Again, if you are somebody that eats a lot of sugar, you don't want to just start eating a lot of fruit to replace that sugar. That's not the point, right? Eat it here and there. But again, if body fat loss, weight loss is one of the main goals, you want to limit it to 1 to 2 servings a day because fruit still has sugar. Dietary fat. Dietary fat is your friend. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not be afraid of fat in your diet. You will find that you are much more satisfied and you can go much longer between meals if you eat enough fat. If you don't eat enough fat, you're going to want to snack. Because you're pulling out a lot of things, you need to replace it with something, and fat is what you want to replace it with. Do not be afraid of fat. The right fat, the ones I have listed here in the manual, help you burn fat. So, these fats don't make you fat. Olive oil, coconut oil, nut seeds, nut butters, avocado oil, ghee. What is ghee? Ghee is clarified butter, but it has the milk proteins, casein and whey, removed. And what remains is butterfat. A lot of times the whey is what people are reacting to. And the great thing is that ghee tastes just like butter. You'll usually find it in the grocery in the Asian or international section. It's not refrigerated, it's in a glass jar. Now, quality protein. You're going to want to have lots of quality protein and a wide variety of proteins. Again, challenge your taste buds and try something you haven't tried before. Maybe you haven't tried it in a long time and you used to not like it. This time you might like it. You never know. So, lots of different protein sources. Now, beverages. You want to drink lots of water. This will essentially help to flush your system out. So I recommend taking your body weight in pounds, divide that number in half, and drink that amount in ounces, at least, if not more. So, say you're 130 pounds. That would be about half to a full gallon of water per day. My best advice is to drink enough water so that when you go to empty your bladder, you pee clear. Yep, I am not kidding. Drink until you pee clear. Herbal teas. Green tea has a little bit of caffeine, so if you're used to having caffeine, try green tea instead. Seasonings. Use plenty of seasonings in your food. You want to really flavor your food. Rosemary, thyme, dill, cilantro, parsley. Food does not have to be boring. It really, really doesn't. A lot of you may have questions about supplements. Am I gonna have to take supplements. No, you don't have to take anything. If you're currently taking supplements, continue taking what you are taking. That's not something you're going to want to change. I listed some supplements in your manual that you may consider taking during this time. Things like magnesium and vitamin C. If you are experiencing strong sugar cravings, glutamine is a supplement that can help with that. You can review those supplements on page 23 of your manual. So, moving on to page 11 here, I'll just skip right over to page 11. Let's talk about when to eat. I've got pre and post workout described here, but what I want you to really focus on is 3 square meals a day. Now, if your days are really long, then a 4th meal is probably going to need to be added. But I want you to really try to focus on going 4 to 5 hours between meals, because it's going to allow your digestive system to have a little bit of a break. Think about this. If you're eating at 8 and you're eating at 10 and you're eating at 1 and you're eating at 3 and you're eating at 6, every single time you're eating, insulin's being released. Now, the composition of your meal is going to determine how much insulin is being released. But each time insulin is released, it's knocking on the door of your cells. Knock, knock, knock. Let me in. Because it's trying to move glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cell. Well, what happens when the cell no longer responds? Insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes. So, if you're constantly knocking on that door of the cell all throughout the day, it can have an effect on hormone balance. Now, lifestyle modification. That is here on page 13 of your manual. These are all things that you can do to just enhance some of the things you are already doing. Don't feel like you have to do these. I just want you to have the information. So many of you are actually currently doing an exercise program. That's obviously not going to change. You may consider adding in some low-intensity activity. I have walking on here. The idea is to get outside and get into nature. This may be a time where you add in either some leg stretching or you add in your corrective exercises, your foam rolling on days that you're not exercising. It's always good. Movement is always good. Movement is good for the mind and movement is good for the body. Because part of this process is about decreasing stress levels so we can decrease inflammation. Moving on to journaling on page 14 here. Journaling is another really good thing. You may want to journal during this process. This may be helpful for you in the future. What can I do today to take care of my body? What am I willing to let go of today that's no longer serving me? It could be a toxic relationship, because those can be toxic to the body as well. It could be a food causing you to feel bad. My absolute favorite, which I gave you here, is my recipe for a detox bath. Now, one thing I really want you to note, if you have a heart condition, you should talk to your doctor before taking a hot bath. And I did put a few notes on steps that you should take if your doctor does give you the okay for a hot bath. But this detox bath really feels phenomenal. It can help eliminate toxins. It can help to decrease blood sugar. It can help you sleep. Lots of really great benefits. Now, let's move on to page 16, getting started. The first thing you need to do, you need to set yourself up for success in your environment. The one environment that you can control is your home. So ideally, you would go home and you would clean it all up. Get rid of any and all food that is on the list of things to avoid. Because if it's in your house, you're going to eat it. Eventually, you're going to cave and you're going to eat it. If that's not realistic to get all of that out of your home for whatever reason, then have a space that is yours. This is my cupboard where all of my spices and cooking supplies are. This is my part of the fridge. Put the other things out of view. Just put them to the side, put them in the door, put them way in the back, somewhere so that every time you open the fridge, you're not looking right at it. That is going to make this way easier for you. Do some planning. The one thing that this is going to require is a little bit of thought and a little bit of organization. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The next thing I would ask you to do is figure out 2 or 3 go-to meals that are easy and quick. So when you don't want to cook or you don't have time to cook, you have an option. If you're in a rush, you might go to the grocery deli section and get a salad off the salad bar and then get a rotisserie chicken and put the chicken on the salad. That's a go-to meal. You need to establish what those 2 or 3 things that you can go to when you're busy and you just don't want to go through a lot of trouble, because that will happen. Obviously, when you plan your meals, that's going to make grocery shopping very easy. You have a grocery shopping list in your manual as well to make that a little bit easier on you. And then the other thing is to make a game plan for the situations you know you're going to be faced with over the next 3 weeks. You're going to have them. It's somebody's birthday, or it's an anniversary, or there's a holiday. Make a game plan. If you're going to be at a party, ask if you can bring something, and bring something you know you can eat. You go in with a mindset, and you go in with a game plan, and you will be successful. If you're meeting somebody for dinner or lunch or whatever, coffee, take control, be selfish, and pick the place. Well, if you're going for coffee, you're going to have herbal tea, right? Just have control. Don't say, oh, I don't care where we go, or where do you want to go? Take control and pick a place that you know you can be successful at. You can more than likely always order protein and steamed vegetables. You just have to ask them to prepare it appropriately. You can usually order a salad and then just bring your dressing with you. Some olive oil, some lemon juice, and pepper in a little container. Just bring that with you. The last thing on getting started. Break up with your scale. You're going to want to weigh in at the beginning, and then you're going to want to weigh out in the end. But I don't want you stepping on that scale in between. I'm serious. Because if you step on it and it's not what you want to see, or it's not as fast or as quick as you want to see it, you're going to feel defeated. And you're going to think that this isn't working, but it is working. How you currently eat will determine how you're going to feel the first week. So let me just tell you what you can expect. If you're currently eating very similar to this plan, you're not going to notice much at all. If you're currently eating very different than this, you're going to feel much worse before you feel better. By day 3 and day 4, you're going to feel like you're not going to make it. I'm telling you, it will get better. You may have really strong cravings. You may feel like you have the flu, but that's probably your body that's saying, oh my, what are you doing to me? I need to catch up. I need to start to adapt. So sometimes you feel worse before you feel better. That's normal. Once you get over the hump, you're going to have more energy than you know what to do with. The second week, days 8 through 14, you're probably That's where you're going to start to feel that you have more energy. You're going to start to feel like you're sleeping better. If you're having gastric distress, diarrhea, constipation, that can be normal because your gut is trying to heal itself. And so sometimes those symptoms will appear. The other thing that you need to be careful of, if you don't typically eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and you now start eating large amounts of fruit and vegetables, that can cause gas and bloating. Cook your vegetables. Don't eat a lot of raw vegetables if you're experiencing a lot of gastrointestinal distress. The other thing you need to watch out for is eating a lot of nuts. Nuts can cause some gastrointestinal distress as well. Soaking your nuts can be really helpful. Now, I'll let you read through the rest of this in terms of what to expect. I have some meal ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner listed here, as well as more tips for dining out and traveling. So I'll let you read through all of that. Some frequently asked questions about constipation, when you're feeling like you're slumping and want some carbs. A lot of good information there. But let's go on to page 25, where you've completed the 21 days. Now what? The reintroduction process. I will let you go over that on your own as well, but just know that you don't have to stop just because 21 days are over. If you feel like you need to keep going for whatever reason, or you feel like it's manageable to keep going, or you're feeling really good and you want more results, just because it's day 21 does not mean you need to stop. But there is a reintroduction process in the manual here. I will warn you, if you don't do the reintroduction process, you're missing a big part of this detox, because an important benefit of a detox is identifying any food that is causing inflammation. If you weigh in on that last day, and then you go out that night and you eat a pizza and you drink beer and you have cookies, you are going to get violently ill, you're gonna feel yucky, and you will have missed out on a huge benefit of learning about your body from the reintroduction process. So, that's it. Thanks for joining me for this pre-challenge prep workshop. I will see you in the Facebook group. Make sure that you are active and posting in the group so that you will be eligible for the weekly prize drawings. Stay fit, be happy.